The Police Services Board responds to an expert panel report. A banner year for the local polar bear plunge. And the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff testifies on election interference. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Police Board has responded to that final report released yesterday by an expert panel tasked with reviewing policing in Thunder Bay. The report, which was presented to the board yesterday evening, offers 10 action proposals to improve the board and the service as a whole and contains hundreds of recommendations previously put forward by the OIPRD and OCPC. Vasilios Bellos was at yesterday's Special Police Board meeting. He now joins us live in the studio. Vasilios.
Thanks, Ryan. The recommendation in the expert panel's report focused on addressing systemic racism, workplace mental health, and leadership concerns, while stressing collaboration with the Indigenous community moving forward. Members of the Police Board commented on the report last night, all recognizing the significant amount of work they and the service have ahead of them. The findings and recommendations of the expert panel tasked with reviewing policing in Thunder Bay were presented Thursday night to the Police Board. Panel Chair Alok Mukherjee provided the presentation on the report, which calls for transformational change in areas of racism, labor relations, and workplace mental health. Police Board member Shelby Chung recognizes this isn't the first time recommendations like this have been provided. Despite this, Chung's confident the adoption of a Board Governance Committee and Labor Relations Committee will be a crucial factor in implementing the recommendations.
I think that's where the real work is going to get done, and that's something that I don't think has really been explored in any kind of depth before with the board, but now we're going to set up those structures to make sure that we have a lot more community input, a lot more hands on deck to help us actually push forward and create these policies to make change.
High-ranking police officials, including the acting chief and deputy chief, were in attendance for the meeting, though officials say they're unable to comment on the report at this time. One of the Police Board's newest members, Karen Machado, did speak to us after the meeting and says while these recommendations would be beneficial, they can't be implemented overnight.
Multi-year and potentially multi-board, depending on, people's times, that they're serving. Because I think the biggest thing is, for myself, and I believe the board is of the same, we want to do it right. We don't necessarily want to do it quick. I mean, if we can do it quick at the same time, don't get me wrong, but we need to get it right.
I don't like it when people think we can achieve more than we can because it creates false expectations. But I also think we can achieve things immediately, and we should be held accountable to doing those things.
Following the release of the report, Anishinaabe Nation Deputy Grand Chief Annabette Achnapaneskin released a statement saying, quote, "The report shows how the service's leadership continues to refuse to accept responsibility for its failures and shows no sign of changing. Without leadership accepting responsibility, it is impossible to expect that serious issues such as systemic racism can even begin to be addressed." NAN did engage with the expert panel through public consultation last year and submitted several recommendations on how to improve the governance and delivery of policing in Thunder Bay. Vasilios Bellos, TVT News.
The province's Special Investigations Unit is looking into an arrest by Thunder Bay police officers on Tuesday. According to preliminary information, a 33-year-old man was taken into custody around 7:30 p.m. in front of a North May Street convenience store. He was then taken to hospital and diagnosed with a serious injury. The SIU has assigned 2 investigators, and the probe is in the preliminary stages. Anyone who witnessed the interaction or has video of it is asked to contact the SIU. Thunder Bay Police have issued a public safety advisory regarding a high-risk offender who may be in or traveling through the community. 59-year-old Eugene Susi was removed from a train in Long Lac yesterday, and police say he arranged for transportation to Thunder Bay today. Between 1998 and 2013, Susi was convicted of more than 40 charges, including prostitution of a person under 18, sexual assault, and fraud. He was living in Brockville after serving his sentence. City police say the public safety alert is being issued as a precaution, as Susi has been declared a high-risk offender. Well, police are also renewing their request for help to find a missing person who hasn't been seen since November. 65-year-old Alex Lawson was last spotted in the Grandview Mall area, which is where police were searching this afternoon. City police officers were joined by members of the OPP, with both bringing out their canine units. The dogs searched trails and wooded areas in the Grandview area, hoping to find any trace of Lawson. Detective Sergeant Robert Gombola says the disappearance has been incredibly difficult on Lawson's family members who just want answers.
It's tough to say. It's obviously dramatic for the family, and it would be nice to put closure to this regardless of the outcome, and we are still hopeful that we will find Mr. Lawson, and that's why we're imploring to the public to come forward with any information if there's a confirmed sighting.
Lawson is described as an Indigenous man standing about 5'6" with a medium build. He has long, straight gray hair, brown eyes, and often sports facial hair. Anyone with information is urged to contact the police non-emergency line or Crime Stoppers. A Thunder Bay man who pleaded guilty to numerous charges following the largest child pornography investigation in the city's history has been sentenced to 6 years in custody. 29-year-old Skylar King appeared at the local courthouse this morning for sentencing. Earlier this year, he pleaded guilty to 7 charges, including making child pornography, voyeurism, and luring a child under the age of 16. The City Police Cybercrime Unit began an investigation in 2019 after receiving a tip from the RCMP, and King was arrested in June of that year. The probe identified 169 young victims, the majority of whom reside outside of Canada. After receiving credit for time served, King will spend 4 years and 4 months in a federal penitentiary. The full details can be found on tvnewswatch.com. A local city councillor wants to explore the potential sale of a city-owned trailer park. Hillcourt Estates, the 89-unit trailer park located off Roslyn Road, first opened in 1976 and was taken over by the city in 1994. The property has been a consistent money maker for the municipality in recent years. Residents vocally opposed a sale when the idea last came up in 2012. But at-large councillor Trevor Gertuga argues the city may be better off handing it to the private sector, saying he doesn't think City Hall should be in the landlord business.
But you know, when you're in that type of business, I mean, look at Victoriaville. Now we have to spend, you know, an extreme amount of money to tear that down now, and that's the landlord business. There aren't septic systems out there, and there's so much risk involved in there. People get sick drinking. You know, something leaches into the water. You know, it's just there's just too many risks out there, and the landlord business is just something I don't think we should be in. The Wayland building is another example. I mean, we're competing against the private sector.
Gertuga's motion calling for a report on the issue will be debated at Monday's City Council meeting. Some information, though, like the value of the property, will likely be discussed behind closed doors. Ontario's Alcohol and Gaming Commission is proposing a ban on gambling ads that feature celebrities and athletes. The agency says the goal of the ban would be to minimize the potential harm to youth and children. The proposed changes would force operators and suppliers to stop any advertising or marketing activities using active or retired athletes. It would also ban the use of cartoon figures, role models, social media influencers, or other celebrities. Magnus Theatre is presenting the final play of its 2022-23 season. Bear Grease is a touring musical comedy that's an Indigenous spin-off of the 1978 movie Grease. Those involved say it will bring laughter and cheer for local audiences. Mike Lang has more.
Tell me more, can she pay you? He's sketch. Tell me more, does he point with his lips?
Not only is Bear Grease an Indigenous spin-off of the film Grease, it also features an Indigenous cast who look forward to bringing audiences from all backgrounds together and making them laugh.
Went to the powwow, met a smoking hot mama, while you guys is at home playing pocket hockey.
However, co-creator and cast member Crystal Lightning emphasized the importance of representing Indigenous themes within their play.
We never had that in the 50s or 60s. That representation was not present because we were going through other things in that time, residential schools and a bunch of other stuff. So my husband and I, we were sitting on the couch one night and Grease came on. And we thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if there was a native Greece? And so that's how the seed was planted. And so we wanted to, having it all Indigenous cast and created was very important to us, just to represent that.
Bear Grease was of interest to Magnus dating back to last year. Although the musical comedy could not fit into their lineup last spring, theater director Tom Curry was determined to include Bear Grease this time around.
Since 1985, Magnus Theatre is the only non-culturally specific theatre in Canada that annually produces 1 or 2 plays that are fully Indigenous created. So that's why I was so excited to find these guys.
It's not the grease you expected, it's the grease you need in your life. You will walk away out of the theater so happy. It's such a pleasant experience. And there's also some history in there, but also it just brings everyone together, Indigenous, non-Indigenous, to just laugh all together and have a good evening.
Lightning is also offering a special treat to those who come out to watch the show.
They actually have a really special drink for us at the bar called the Pink Anties, which is like so cool. So we want to invite everyone out to come and try one of those mocktails or cocktails with us after the show. We hang out with everyone after the show until everyone leaves and gets a picture.
Bear Grease plays at Magnus Theatre until April 23rd with evening and matinee performances. Mike Lang, TBT News.
It was a record-setting year for the local polar bear plunge. Committee members announced the proceeds at a news conference today. Not only were they able to double their fundraising goal, they also welcomed a record number of participants. Jessica Clement has the details.
Just 2 weeks before the big event, Polar Plunge committee members were calling for more participants as they were worried that they wouldn't have enough plungers. Thunder Bay residents answered the call and ended up beating participation records with over 400 plungers taking part, including the team here at TBT News. The community also flooded the event with donations, allowing them to blow their initial $75,000 fundraising goal out of the water.
We're happy to be part of this and to reveal that the grand total is $150,000.
Co-chair of the plunge, Ryan Gibson, says the amount of community support shown in that short amount of time proves how big Thunder Bay's heart is.
Thunder Bay is an island. It really is. I always say it's the world's biggest town. And people really come together they really do come together when they need to. And this just shows it. I mean, most of our donations are individually raised, right? We don't have a lot of corporations here in town. You know, we're lucky PR contracts have come in. But realistically, that just speaks to the quality of the people here that will come out, give their time, give their money, and jump in Lake Superior for the opening of spring.
The top fundraising team this year was Superior North EMS, who raised over $17,000. Paramedic Rob Moquin says they were challenged by the Thunder Bay Police and the Firefighters Association on who could raise the most money out of the 3 services. He says along with helping a good cause, the friendly competition motivated them to raise as much as they could.
Because we did win, we get to go over and receive a barbecue and a car wash from both police and fire, so that'll be enjoyable. And it was Thunder Bay that really stepped up and participated in our 3-service challenge, and we're glad that we came out on top amongst our services, of course, but really the true winner is where the money is going today.
All funds raised will be going back into the community and will be split between the CNIB, Pro Kids, Roots Community Food Center, and the Special Olympics. Special Olympics coordinator Rob Neff says they rely on local initiatives like the Polar Plunge to fund everything they do.
We've grown so much over the past 10 years or so with the impetus from the different games that we've had here, the provincial games in 2011 and national games in 2020. And with that growth has come a tremendous increase in our cost.
Gibson is telling residents to mark their calendars for next year's Polar Plunge, which will take place on April 6th. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
With rain and some snow in the forecast this weekend, the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority has issued a flood watch for Thunder Bay and the surrounding area. The LRCA notes there's still more snow on the ground than usual in some rural locations, and it's begun to melt quite quickly. Some localized flooding has already been reported. Residents are advised to be cautious around waterways and keep children and pets away from slippery banks. Well, with temperatures hitting double digits again today, local skiers are enjoying the last bit of the snow before the skis have to be put away until next winter. Mount Baldy is now closed for the season, but Loch Lomond was open today, and officials there plan to stay open until Sunday. The Camview Nordic Centre announced that its chalet is closing after today, but as Riley McManus tells us, that doesn't mean the trails will be closed.
So the season started off in November and it's been fantastic.
This year's snowfall and exceptionally nice temperatures made for the perfect combination for local skiers. Terry Gibbons is a ski instructor at Camview and says the latest spike in temperatures has changed the trails quite a bit, but nothing she can't handle.
It makes it a little bit trickier. The conditions are slower than they would be if the temperatures were closer to zero. However, there is so much snow out here that it's just nice to be able to get out and do some skiing in the sunshine and get some great exercise.
This was the final day for the chalet, but as Camview General Manager Dave Suddy says, just because the chalet is closed doesn't mean the trails will be.
This time of year with the warmer temperatures and snow melting out and stuff like that, we don't have as many visits. So we do shut the chalet down, but there's still skiing available. People can come out and enjoy the outside.
Meanwhile, the trails at Lappy Ski Center are also still open, but will no longer be groomed. Another place that's still taking advantage of the remaining snow is Loch Lomond Ski Area. Guest Services Manager Laura Woodbeck says she can't express her gratitude enough for the people who are still coming out.
Praying for no rain. We're still hoping that on Sunday we do get some snow and we have a wonderful powder day for everyone as our farewell to Loch Lomond for ski season this year.
There's, it's nice and warm out, and the hill still has quite a bit of snow on it, and they've kept it well groomed. It's just great.
It's like a fast goal, stop slow. It's real fast, but it's beautiful. It's a nice day out. Thanks to Loch for opening up. It's mint. Yeah, it's perfect.
It is a beautiful, sunny, double-digit day out here at Loch Lomond, and the skiers and owners are praising Mother Nature for blessing us with such beautiful weather. With that being said, there is some rain forecasted for the weekend, but everyone here is fairly confident that the skiing season will end on Sunday. Riley McManus, TBT News.
Well, Fiona, it's tough to believe that we are still talking about skiing given the nice temperatures that we've had in recent days. Double digits again today.
Yeah, double digits for a daytime high of 11 and overnight lows staying above the freezing mark. Once again, we dropped down to a low of 3, and throughout the day today, it has been partly to mostly sunny. Much more sunshine than we were actually anticipating. The system that is moving through the region actually pushed a little bit further north, which also helped the temperatures stay nice and mild because all that warm air from the south pushing in, despite winds from the east 18 to 33 kilometers per hour. Now, what's going on in the region at this hour is a little bit mind-boggling at times. We're currently at 11, partially due to that wind off the lake. Just move a little bit west, we're in the 20s. Atikokan at 21, 22 in Uppsala. A little cooler, but still 16 in Fort Frances. Partly sunny skies, a little cooler in Dryden. And then, yeah, that's 3 Celsius. 3 Celsius at this hour in Kenora, 1 in Red Lake. And that's because they're hitting the edge of a very cold front that's trying to push its way in. They've also got rain because it's still above freezing despite Mother Nature's intention to cool things down, so they've been dealing with light rain off and on during the day. Now it warms back up to 7 in Sioux Lookout, Armstrong 5, 8 in Greenstone with loads of sunshine at this time. Even along the North Shore, we've got a kind of a mixed bag. 12 in Nipigon, Marathon at 17, and Sault Ste. Marie currently at 19 Celsius under partly sunny skies. Now, here in the city of Thunder Bay, tonight we're going to see another above freezing overnight low of 5 under mostly cloudy skies, and those showers that they're experiencing to the northwest in the Red Lake region are going to be trying to push into Thunder Bay as well as the system moves up from the south, giving us just a brush of shower activity. But as you can see, it's a fairly large system that's pushing up from the south, and because of all that colder air, some areas looking at snow, some rain-snow mix, and Thunder Bay looking at showers. And that's just Saturday because there is cold air pushing in, which means by Sunday we could be seeing some of the white stuff moving in. I'll have more details on that later on in the news hour.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fiona. Well, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Katie Telford, testified in front of a parliamentary committee today on foreign interference in Canadian elections. We'll tell you what came out of that testimony right after the break.
publicly disclosing what our intelligence agencies know or how they come to know it can irreparably harm Canada's national interests and put people's lives in danger.